everyone, and welcome to the webinar today. My name is Nung, and I will be your facilitator for today's session. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items to note. Do feel free to adjust the size of the presentation box on your console by expanding the corner of the box. If at any time throughout the presentation you are experiencing connection issues, please try refreshing the console by pressing the F5 button if you are a PC user, or Command R for Mac users. If the problem persists, please try closing the event window and then relaunching the event again. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please submit them in the Q&A box, and we will have a live Q&A session at the end. Finally, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with you afterwards. And today, I have with me Nicholas, the head of APAC Growth Marketing from Adobe, and Tanuj, the founder of 18th Digitech, to take us to the webinar today. Without further ado, I would like to hand the time over to Nicholas and Tanuj. Over to you, gentlemen. Thank you. Tanuj, you're mute.
Still can't hear you, Tanuj. No, I can't hear you, matey. Something's clearly gone wrong. So what I can do, we'll give you another minute, another second, see if it works. Otherwise, I'll dive in. And this was all working a moment ago. So. Still can't hear you, mate. So what I'll do is, while you work on your sound, I'll start the session for the team that have dialed in, and I want to welcome everyone to today's session. While Tanuj is working hard to get his sound back online, what I'll do is I'll jump straight into the keynote presentation, which is titled "The Future of Customer Experience: 3 Things You Can Do Now to Get Ready for All the Change That's Taking Place." My name's Nicholas Kontopoulos. I've got the great privilege of leading the Adobe DX marketing organization across APAC region. And today I want to share some insights based on my own experiences. I've been on a bit of a crazy journey through my career working with, not always on the technology side. I actually came into technology late in my career and was actually on client side across multiple industries, and been very passionate about customer experience for a long time, for over 2 decades now, and looking at how I can bring that into businesses I work for or with. So I'll be sharing a lot of insights that I've gathered over that time. And if we start really taking a look at this sort of new post-pandemic customers that are starting to take shape, we've seen a lot of change clearly, and a lot of talk about how much impact the pandemic is having on our businesses. Clearly, it's pushed a lot of our customers onto digital channels, especially those that were maybe a bit slow to adapt. And we're seeing, a lot of unpredictability, and also finding that our customers are easy to lose. So therefore, really the heart of this presentation is the notion or the idea that we need to capture the hearts and minds of our customers, and also their spirit in engaging them in ways that demonstrate that we really clearly understand them and the journeys they're on, and really look at how we can map our pathways for them to find us as a brand, but also then to engage them in ways that really sees us remove unnecessary friction, out of those experiences that they're having with us. And I say unnecessary because you do want to create the right amount of friction in your journeys. We need to look at how we can also anticipate what they feel and what they need, using the data and insights they're sharing with us each and every day. And to do this, I really want to put at the heart of this presentation this idea of the empathy being really at the beating heart of customer experience. Well, one of the key key areas of focus that we need to make. We need to be able to empathize with our customers and our employees and even our suppliers that we're working with. A lot of what data points I'm going to refer to today come from the 2021 Digital Trends Research. I'm going to share a QR code later for you to be able to go and access this. And, one thing...
Hello, testing.
Oh, there you go, Tanuj. We've got you, mate. So I'll bring you back in a bit later, yeah? Excellent.
No
Great
worries.
to have
Please
you.
continue.
No worries. I think it's fair to say we won't miss 2020. This was really, though, a year that proved the customer experience proposition. If I look at the brands that we get the great privilege of working with each and every day, the ones that really excelled, the ones that really persevered and thrived even through these difficult times were brands that really invested in customer experience. They really did have seen the ability to achieve long-term growth, have been able to adapt to these changing landscapes that we're operating across. And ultimately what it's proven is the investments in customer experience can really pay off. And the research that I shared earlier is based around surveying 10,000 marketers and e-commerce folks across the globe. And what we saw is two distinct categories. 82% of those that were engaging in the survey fell into the sort of the cohort of what we call mainstream customer experience. Brands, they provide somewhat immature to somewhat advanced sort of capability in terms of CX. The other cohort are the leaders. 18% of these had very advanced customer experience strategies and technologies aligned to those strategies. What was really clear is that, what differentiates these two groups is their strategic commitment to customer experience through the investments they're making over the last 5 years. And I'm not just talking about technology investments. I know you might expect me to say that, and it definitely, without a doubt, technology plays an absolutely critical role here, but it's also the investments in the people and processes that you're trying to enable through those technologies that you're deploying. 61% of mainstream brands admitted that if they were customers of their own customer experience, they would possibly or definitely look for other brands. So that's a pretty insightful, data point when you think about it. So a lot of these individuals wouldn't even buy from their own brands. So, what we got to look at here is that, the mainstream brands will look to leaders for what's working. So again, if you're on this journey, it doesn't hurt to take a look at what other CX brands that are pioneering the way forward are doing so that you can look at, obviously trying to incorporate some of those ideas and thoughts and how you might better evolve your own strategies. So when we take I'm a great student of history, and I like to have a look back where we've come from often, and look at what lessons we can learn in order to chart, a path forward. And when we look back, over 2020, we've seen this rise of a sort of a new customer base that is evolving. We saw a lot of customers went straight online and started shopping. Actually, it was quite interesting to see just how quickly customers adapted to the new reality that were having to operate during the pandemic. What was equally interesting was that we saw a lot of customers that maybe had been slow to adopt digital, channels. I'm thinking baby boomers and even early, Gen X's, my sort of age bracket around the 50s and late 40s, who maybe have been slow in going to e-commerce as a channel. Well, they were really forced into engaging these channels, and we've seen, a lot of behaviors change. This data point is really interesting to see that, B2C, B2B, consumer goods, manufacturing brands all reported unusual growth in digital customers. So this is not just a B2C phenomenon. We're seeing this trend across both B2B and B2C, and direct to consumer also is a key evolving area for a lot of brands that are also B2B historically that are now looking to engage their customers directly or consumers directly. Also are seeing an uptick in terms of the value of e-commerce, for example, in how they can engage those audiences. Oh, sorry. I think I just give me 1 second there. I think I've had a little bit of lag in my system here. Just bear with me. All right, here we go. I'm going to push hopefully a video clip to you guys now. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, in terms of what we've seen is we've definitely seen that new customers haven't slowed down. and they're basically not afraid of change. We're seeing consumers actually evolve quite aggressively, like I said, in terms of their adoption. Actually, we're about 5 to 10 years ahead of where we were projecting to be at this time, just 2 years ago. And what this means for us is that, we have the ability now to really engage our customers in wholly new ways. In actual fact, that's not a new idea. We've been talking about omnichannel and digital for some time now, but what's become really evident is the absolute necessity in investing in these areas today. And this really means we need to be meeting the needs of these new customer segments, these new customers that are really forcing us to reimagine the way we engage with them. And this statement here is a bit of a trope. The new customer has more power than ever. I think we've been saying that for some time, but the reality is, with every year that passes, this becomes even more true. It's a great opportunity now to get to know our customers, to convert and retain these new customers, and using the insights and data they're sharing with us actively, passively, or explicitly or implicitly, I should say, creates a great opportunity for us to think about how we can engage them in new ways. And we are seeing, again, through the research, real changes in customer behaviors affecting all sectors. Again, looking across these different segments, we see, there's been unusual customer churn reported and unusual buying behaviors from existing customers. So all segments are really seeing a fundamental change in their customers. And this is really being driven by this new era in which experiences are being born digitally. The reality is, once a tipping point is reached and people start engaging with new channels, it's very unlikely they'll regress. They will look to incorporate those new channels into their mix of channels that they will use to source information, insights, etc. on you, and look for brands that can help solve for problems. So digital strategy should be really at the core driver of customer experience and business growth, without a doubt. If the reality is all our businesses should be digital by now, if they're not, we need to be accelerating that move towards embracing these capabilities in our businesses. The reality is the businesses that can move at speed, that can adapt, are going to be the ones that ultimately can outperform their competitors. By using the data and insights we capture and be able to turn those into actionable, capturing those actionable insights will enable us to move more quickly with more agility than our competitors. But you can't have business agility if you have technical rigidity. I love this quote from Charlie here. It's so true, so we need to think about how we build that agility right across the business. Only 23% of organizations rate their businesses as very strong for speed of gaining accurate insights. 53% of leaders have significant insight into loyalty and retention compared to 26% of mainstream CX brands. These are really interesting insights. Action, and ultimately what this tells me is action needs to be connected with and aligned with customers in a meaningful way. We need to, as I said earlier, win the hearts and minds and spirit of our customers and everything else in between that. So, sorry, again, I'm having a little lag here, so my apologies. Sorry about that. Yeah, so basically our customers, are very emotional in how they make decisions. I think it was Martin Lindstrom that said in his research that 80 to 90% of business decisions and customer decisions are actually driven through our emotions. We like to think we're highly rational, but the reality is emotions do play a big part. And this is why customer experience is such a critical part of your strategy, or needs to be quite a central part of your strategy. Analyzing your customer's emotional journey requires, gathering deep insights into what makes them tick. Again, the brands that are leading the way here have really great insights in terms of understanding their customers, being able to identify the friction points in the customers' journeys, what drives their purchase decision making, really understanding the mindset of their customers throughout the key moments of truth of that journey. And ultimately also have a good working knowledge of what drives loyalty and retention within those customers. So, effective empathy really does have quite an important role here in helping us engage these customers and using the data that we collect to differentiate the way we shape and create and deliver our customer experiences across these sort of key channels and through those key moments of truth on that journey are going to be where we can make a really stand out in that customer's mind. Brands must think of their customers really as people and not data sets. I've got to stress this. Again, I know it sounds obvious, but a lot of brands do forget this. We do often lose sight of our customers. And we need to see them as people, ultimately, and not dollar signs or data sets, as I say here. In the end of the day, we need to use empathy to deliver really wow-like experiences to our customers and our prospects. And to do this will ultimately see us, create, a much more longer lasting customer engagement experience, and ultimately one that will help us thrive as businesses. Using empathy to drive a customer first approach involves the whole organization. So again, this is not just to the marketing or sales or front office. This is the entire organization. Think of it as one customer, one experience, one enterprise approach that needs to be utilized. And this is where, if I think about the 3 areas I want you guys to think about, is it really looking at how do we embed an empathy-driven strategy involving the process of engaging the customer's hearts, minds, and spirit. So what I mean by this, let's take a look at mind first. So how can we capture their make an impact in a meaningful way that really does enable those customers to think about us in the right lights. And really, for me, leaders, and mainstream organizations are still in a reactive mode. We need to move into a more proactive approach in how we're engaging with our customers, being deep on empathy-driven insights that really, bring deep empathy-driven insights that drive really effective action to the table. I think a really great example of a brand that does this, personally, this is one I picked. I'm based here in Singapore. I love Singapore Airlines. I love Singapore Airlines, but also love Changi Airport. Changi Airport is, without a doubt, for me, one brand that really understands the importance of empathy and customer experience. It employs there's about 50,000 people that work at Changi Airport at any one time, and only 5,000 of them are actually employed by Changi Airports themselves. The rest are basically employees of businesses that are supporting the airport in its ability to operate. So think of the people, the luggage, people that unpack the luggage from the planes, through to the catering companies, etc. All of these folks work at the airport. But here's the beautiful thing. Changi has a clear understanding of how the customer journey takes place. They have a literal blueprint and understanding of how long it takes a passenger to disembark from a plane to get to a taxi. Roughly about 20 odd minutes. I think it's about 25 minutes. If there's any delays in that journey, they understand where those delays occurred. And then the entire ecosystem that supports that customer experience, both employees and the service companies supporting that experience, come together and understand what role was played in that delay being caused by any part of that ecosystem. And then they identify that and they resolve that. So it's a really fantastic example of a brand that really understands the importance of what those key moments of truth are throughout that journey, and really working together as an ecosystem to deliver those experiences. So a really great example of a brand, and hence, anyone that's flown through Changi Airport could attest to the amazing experience you see these guys deliver time and time again. They use the data, and many brands like them that are leading the way use data, to really fuel their decision-making process. Data is great, as it says here, but insights are better, and action is gold. So really getting actionable insights is really critical to you being able to create really memorable experiences that really capture the mind share of the customers you're trying to engage with. Leaders are more than twice as likely as mainstream brands to have significant insights into new customer journeys. I mean, that's a significant data point, yeah? 46% versus 20% of leaders can identify key friction points in that journey. So think about the example I just gave with Changi Airport, really understanding how long it takes a customer to move across the airport to the taxi, and then knowing where those breakdowns occur and being able to action that. That takes a lot of insights, a lot of data, a lot of different silo data coming together that enables them to really take action there. Okay, I've got the next, sorry, there we go. Yeah, so if we think about also, we need to be able to drive innovation. We need to be able to invest in looking at how we empower our organizations to really adapt and experiment with new ways of engaging. 45% versus 14% of leaders are much more likely to be adept at building experiments into testing insights. This is a fantastic data point because, again, I'm a very big advocate of that idea of, test, test, learn, and adapt. Yeah, this is something I always champion, even in my own organization. Fail fast, learn fast. All those ideas. Again, the brands that really embrace these and empower their employees to do, put those into motion, actually are the brands that are doing really well. So let's take a look at how you can capture the heart of your customers. Yeah. So again, if we look at brands that are doing really well here, these brands are 2.5x more likely than CXOs to have more insights into customer mindsets through their journeys. And they've done this by, removing the friction, as we saw a moment ago, that on the previous slide there, really understanding that unnecessary friction and removing that and addressing that is really important. Again, that's why I can't help stress the importance of really having that clarity of understanding of how a journey takes place across your entire organization. Okay, I'm just making sure the next video is loading. Yep, there we go. So we really want to get to a model where basically everyone wins. Yeah. So again, it's not about, wresting control or power away from customers. We actually want to have a level playing field where everyone feels pretty good about what's happened. The business has made money, it's making a profit, and the customer's getting, the service that she was looking for. So again, that's what should be the end goal always. I want to touch now on a great, fabulous, case study. Actually, that Tanuj's company, 18th, has actually been the partner of helping work with winedirect.com. I mean, this is a fantastic example of a brand that really had a great vision and ambition. And again, I'll ask Tanuj hopefully to share some insights later here. But this is a brand that really understood the need that it needed to take its business to the next level. This is a brand that sells wine, through online. I mean, I can literally go online and purchase my wine, through a subscription model. So they've really rethought the business model and how they can actually engage customers in new ways. But they also realized that they needed to evolve their e-commerce strategy to one that was more of a commerce strategy, one that was really engaging in an omni-channel fashion. They looked at how they could also put mobile at the heart of that journey, which is really exciting. Again, we really need to have a mobile-first strategy. I think this is something that's absolutely critical when we look at the data point. Most journeys do start on a mobile. Now, it doesn't mean they end there. So this is, again, where the omni-channel strategy is really important, because I might start my journey on a mobile, but then finish up on the website. So having that integrated experience is absolutely critical. And really what we saw here was a brand that understood this, that really invested deeply and widely in that, and have really driven what I think is a fabulous, beautiful experience end to end, from everything from the content they surface up that helps inform me on my decision-making process in terms of what type of wines I might want to select, in terms of educating myself in that respect, through to just the beauty of the experience I have end to end in terms of making the purchase and ultimately having the goods delivered. And again, Tanuj will share some insights later on this. But what we saw is some amazing results here. We're talking some key data points here that I think would stand out to anyone. 172% increase in mobile revenue, 90% increase in total online revenue, and 11% increase in average order value. These are data points that I'm sure that most of you would be envious of having, and are quite achievable if you approach your strategy using, a lot of the points I'm talking to today, really thinking about how you empathize with your customer, really thinking about how she would want to engage with you, what drives her decision-making process, how does she discover you, what type of channels does she use to source information, what type of content does she want provided to her. Being able to answer these questions are really important. And then how do you enable your people that are supporting that business processes that sit behind, or behind the brand in order to make sure that they come together in a uniformed way that delivers an amazing experience is really critical. So lastly, I want to talk about the spirit. We need to examine our brand's purpose. Anyone that's heard me talk knows I'm passionate about brand purpose. It really is quite a critical component of any business's strategy, go-to-market strategy now. Those brands that have a clear brand purpose, they know who their why, what their why is. Simon Sinek wrote a fabulous book on this called Know Your Why. If you haven't read it, buy it, read it, consume it, share it, and embrace it. It's a fantastic book that really summarizes in a succinct way the importance of brand purpose and why this is important. We need to be thinking about how we can embrace or develop a clear brand purpose that our entire organization and also those that are supporting us, our suppliers, our partners, can also anchor themselves against. And also, most importantly, our employees, because those brands with really clear purposes are our brands that really perform well. Here at Adobe, our brand purpose is changing the world through digital experiences. It's something that we all are uniformly anchored to as employees at Adobe, and something that we're all very passionate about. So again, what we can see here is the data backs this up. If you can deliver really strong, experiences here, clear purpose, you can actually drive some really great results. Yeah. So the challenge is, where do you fit your brand purpose into your overall strategy? Well, end of the day, it really needs to embrace all of your employees. Your employees are quite important part of that mix. Yeah. If they don't have an anchor point in terms of brand purpose, you will fail. Yeah. So ultimately, the future of customer experience, the three things you can do now to get ready is what I started with. So really, empathy is the future of customer experience. I truly believe that. We need to be thinking about how we can capture the hearts, mind, and spirits of our prospects and customers. We need to be putting them, really front and center and seeing them as people, and thinking about how do we make it easier for them to do business with us and removing that unnecessary friction. So again, where I'm going to look at spending some time now is we're going to have a nice fireside chat. We're going to bring Tanuj in. I think Tanuj has got his sound back up and running. And what we're going to do is explore the importance of investing in, merchandising, the importance of, smart search, and how also important it is to make it easier to transact. So Tanuj, I'm hopeful that you're back online now, mate. I think we heard you sort your audio out. Are you there, buddy?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my friend. Great to have you. And again, just maybe for a quick introduction to the audience, because we had a little bit of technical issue there. You're the CEO founder of 18th Digital, and great to have you here, my friend. Again, you and your team are doing amazing work across the region. Do you want to share any other insights in terms of who you are and what your business does?
So we at 18 Digitech, I've been in the industry for 20 years. I tell people that I started my career when Yahoo was the leading search engine. Probably a lot of audiences here would have never used Yahoo as a main search engine, but we basically specialize in working across Adobe Commerce. A lot of our projects are done in the Asia Pacific regions. We have got some very good brands in Australia, like Dust, Motorcycle Holdings, Wine Direct, and we have got some enterprise brands in India like Escorts, Ritu Kumar, and we have recently bought on board Crocs in India. So but our focus is providing brilliant e-commerce solutions developed on Adobe Commerce at a great value, bringing down the total cost of ownership for the whole platform.
Yeah, no, you guys have done amazing work. And again, I was having another look at Wines Direct, which is a site that I've been to many times before, and it's a beautiful experience you guys delivered there. Like I said, I want to explore some of these these ideas around. I talked in my section very much more about the vision and strategy that you need to be thinking about in terms of what it takes to really create an amazing customer experience. Thinking holistically in that respect. But as we move through that, as a brand starts to develop those, obviously it's going to start looking at making some key investments in areas like e-commerce and selecting platforms that can ultimately augment and support that vision that I was talking to. Now, when we think about e-commerce, shoppers come in different shapes and sizes. How would you classify these shoppers, and how should brands tackle the user experience to cater to each of them, Tanuj?
I would classify shoppers in six different groups based on their motivations and habits, right? So these groups have a lot of common features in terms of their expectations from UX, but we've also find that in some cases there are very stark differences and in other cases minute differences between these groups, right? And also we need to keep in mind that throughout their customer journey, a customer could actually be could belong to a different group. Right. So the first group I would like to focus, the first group of shoppers I would point out is your product-focused shoppers. These shoppers, they know exactly what they want and have done enough research and are ready to purchase. For them, in terms of UX, it's important for them to find what they are looking for quickly and be able to purchase it quickly. It is important for them that the product information is accurate, the images confirm that what they are looking for, and they can, the e-commerce platform offers guest checkout and shipping options built around their requirement. Your next group of shoppers would be your browsers. These shoppers can be compared to window shoppers in the brick and mortar world. They want to see what the latest trends are, what deals are available, and what other people are buying. To convert them into a customer, it's important that the brand presents them with new products, offers them new offers regularly, offer them related items and product recommendations to grab their attention and to convert them into their buyers. The next group of shoppers is your researchers. Now, these are probably the biggest cohort in terms of the traffic that a website generates. These shoppers have a purchase intent, but they're not ready to make up their mind, right? And depending on the product and the value of the product, the sale, they might come back the same day, and then the next day, in a week, or in a few months' time to buy the product, right? They would, in general, visit various sites before purchasing. It is important for these researchers to see great imagery, make sure that the product description is up to the mark, the features, it details all the features that are available on the website. There are user reviews available for them to see what other people think about the product, and things like product comparison, right? Also, you have to keep in mind that these shoppers might use different devices at different times to come to your website. So a consistent shopping experience is also very important to them. Your next group would be your bargain hunters. These customers are looking at the best deal available. So for them, it should be easy to find what deals are available, and they should be able to identify the money that they are saving, the amount, the saving that they are making. It should be easy for them to redeem any coupons or discounts. And also bundled offers could be another way to capture these customers. Your next group is your one-time shoppers. And now these could be any of the above four four I have already highlighted. These shoppers are not generally familiar with your website. So it is important to have a clear site navigation, a powerful site search, detailed product description and images to capture their attention. Reviews are also very important because you want to gain the trust of these shoppers, to establish a trust between your business and these shoppers so that they become your customers, right? These one-time shoppers will also want to have guest checkout because they don't want to go through the hassle of creating an account on a website where they're not sure if they're going to come back at that stage. Then the last group, which I think is the most important for any business, and is in many cases is 70 to 80% of their business. This is your returning and your loyal customers, right? These are the customers who spend money with you regularly, right? They are also your brand ambassador. They talk about you. They provide reviews about your products. They share their information with their family and friends on Instagram, on Facebook, and things like that, right? So it is important that these shoppers, when they come to your store, they should feel privileged. They should see personalized content, deals, and information. There could be a loyalty discount that should be available for them. The information that is presented to them is relevant to them, right? So as I said, they're looking to be rewarded. They will also benefit from features like one-click checkout, which we are getting used to from dealing with businesses like Amazon. So these I would say, are the 6 groups. that I will classify shoppers into. And as I said earlier, they can be, a customer could be in a different group depending on what step of the journey they are in with your business.
No, I identify with three of those groups. I'm a researcher and a browser, 100%. I'm very much in those. And then I'm a massive advocate. If you get me and you do an amazing job, as I just showed with Changi Airport and Singapore Airlines, I talk about them all the time as being great brands, and I'm a consumer of their services. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, really understanding those different groups, and that means you need to really invest time, Tanuj, I guess, in learning, studying those your customers and really understanding where they sit and what their personas are that really drive them. I think again, persona mapping is such a worthy and valuable exercise, but it's not a once and done approach. You need to do this on a regular basis, because obviously consumers change, their purchasing behaviors change. So really understanding that, I think, is really important. So thanks for sharing insights there, mate. I've got another quick question for you. What are some of the common user experience elements merchants must focus on for improving customer or user experience? Can you share some thoughts there, my friend?
For sure, and some of the elements that I would highlight are probably sound very basic, but we see so often that they are overlooked. So, some of these elements are, making sure that you have got a great contextual search and search on the website. Your merchandising is spot on. You're offering personalized recommendations to your customers. You have a frictionless checkout experience, allowing customers to have what they are after, to check out very, very quickly. Your website has a cross-selling and upselling capabilities, so that customers can see what are the other options that are available to them, or how they can improve on the product that they are purchasing. Quality images, obviously, it's not a secret anymore. That images people in the e-commerce world, people see, feel, and experience through their eyes. And detailed product description, telling customers exactly what they're after. And I would also like to point, with images and product description, it is very, very important, because on any e-commerce store, we are seeing a return rate of 10% or higher, right? And a lot of time it comes back to, your images not being up to the mark, or the product description not being up to the mark. So that is something you should focus on. And I'll give you an example. We recently migrated a homeware retailer from Magento 1 to Adobe Commerce. Along with that upgrade, we recommended to them that they should focus on their images and product description as well, and which they did. And as soon as their new website was launched, we had Adobe Sensei and everything for product recommendation engine there. We saw 2x growth in their revenue year on year. Yeah. And also obviously resulting from massive improvement in their conversion rate and average order value.
And this is where
they had their.
Oh, sorry. Keep going, Tanuj.
So during this COVID-19 pandemic in Australia, where Sydney was locked down, last month was the biggest month online in the history of the business.
No, yeah, and again, I think this is where, again, I talked a lot about, using data smartly to really, understand, those behaviors that we're seeing, those signals that we're seeing from our customers, but also to use it in a way to create a better service proposition. To create this idea of brand utility I often talk about is really looking at how we can use data in a way that creates value for the end consumer, because if he or she sees value from the service you're providing, the research shows us they're going to be more willing to share more data with you, which only helps, through machine learning and AI, improve our ability to better hone and refine those offers that we're going to make. So again, I think it's a really important point you make there. Again, maybe if we also look at another area where I think it's important for businesses to think is, let me ask you this question. How important are search and merchandising and personalization on e-commerce stores? Is that something that brands should be really thinking about a lot straight out of the gate?
Well, I would say 100%, right? Like, customers these days are desiring a unique shopping experience, right? I recently read in a Forrester report that 77% users are looking for a personalized experience, right? And personalization is all about providing personal experience to the customer by dynamically showing them content, product recommendations, and offers based on their previous actions, on their browsing behavior, their purchase history, demographics, and other personal data that has been collected, right? So it is important, it's becoming increasingly important for merchants to seeking to not only engage their shoppers, but also to increase their repeat purchases, drive sales, and conversions, right? And merchandising and search, along with marketing, are integral to a user's personalized journey on the store. The purpose of merchandising and search is to help shoppers find what they are looking for with as little effort as possible, right? Like, as we know that, the customer's focus time is very, very short, and it's getting shorter day by day. So it is becoming important that they find what they are looking for as quickly as possible, right? So with good merchandising, you can help a customer navigate through their journey, right? And the journey on an e-commerce store is very different to a brick and mortar store. If you think about a brick and mortar store, anyone who goes to the store, doesn't matter how they came to the store, what demographics they are in, they have the same visual experience. In the digital space, we have the opportunity of changing that, right? We can make sure that, depending on who the customer is, how they have come to the website, what they have done in the past with the website, we can give them a different but great experience every time onto the e-commerce store, right? Now, coming to search, right? I've read recently, there was a research that found out, that as many as 70% of users on any website will use a site search. And the conversion rate among site visitors who have used site search is 50% or higher. So on this point, I would like to invite our audiences to join our webinar next Tuesday, right? Which is all about search, merchandising, and personalization. So if they haven't registered, you should register for that one.
Yeah, 100%. I would totally recommend that. And again, I think you make some really great points there. I love the point you made about, especially those brands that are here today or listening in the on-demand version that operate, physical stores, the ability to use the digital channel to really personalize and even go beyond that now, because I'm also positioning that we need to go beyond personalization to individualization. So how do we really take that to the next level is the way forward. So great points there. Again, when we think about customer experience and e-commerce, we often think about the sexier side of that. It's all the the beautiful content, the beautiful ads, the in-store experience or the digital experiences we just talked about in terms of what entices someone to come to the site and engages them on the site. But what we often don't pay a lot of attention to, which I think is a major point of failure in a lot of cases, is things like payments. The ability to make a checkout frictionless and a positive experience. What would be some of the pain points that merchants should consider to ensure smooth checkout experiences, Tanuj?
Yeah. Look, so as we know, at the end of the day, checkout or the payment is the end game of the e-commerce experience, right? That's what you as a business want your customers, that's the action you want them to take, right? And so, but we still see so many issues with with checkout with a lot of merchants, and some of those pain points that we have seen are lack of payment options at checkout, a lengthy checkout process, missing guest checkout, right? Lack of shipping options, inability to find return shipping policies, and things like that, right? And some of these pain points can be easily overcome. If you think about it, right, with Adobe Commerce, you can have a new payment type added in 2-3 hours of your developer's time, right? So, and customers should really, really look at buy now, pay later options, which are becoming very, very popular in Australia.
And they're making their way up
like,
into Asia now as well, Tanuj. So we're seeing that.
That's right. And correct. And I was listening to your presentation earlier where you mentioned that, like, now there's people in their 40s and 50s are moving to online as well. And in fact, like, that is also after your people in your 20s, people in your late 40s, early 50s is the fastest growing demographics in terms of adoption of BNPL at the moment. So that's one thing that, should be added in payment. Then the other option that we have seen is missing is your one-click checkout, right? If, when you're dealing with your loyal customers, they really want to be able to check out very quickly. And again, with Adobe Commerce, using third-party extensions, you can really implement that feature very, 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 very easily.
Right? No, and great. Sorry, go. Keep finished, Tanuj.
Sorry. And the last point a couple of other points that I wanted to make up was guest checkout, right? Like, guest checkout, unless there are regulatory requirements, there is no reason why a merchant should not offer guest checkout, right? Especially to one-off shoppers. They don't want the hassle of creating an account, and it can really put them off. And the last but not least, last point is, your shipping options. Merchants should always offer multiple shipping options to their customers. Doesn't matter if a customer wants to pay extra to get fast delivery or are happy to wait a few days for free shipping or save on shipping. Your website should cater for both and anyone in between. So these would be, I would say, some
these would be the
major
key areas. No, great insights. I know we're running up on time now. We do have one question here that I thought I'd run past you as well from the audience, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to all of them. The question is, how would you tackle individualization when people shop for partners or families and gifts as well as themselves? So yeah, basically, how do you make a distinction between whether, Nicholas is shopping for something for himself or for his, for my wife or another family member? Do you have any ideas or insights there that could be used?
I think you can still look at the person's shopping history, and their behavior. So you can also look at, something like, if you look at Adobe Sensei and, you use a product recommendation engine like Adobe Sensei, it can actually track your behavior in the last few clicks, your journey in that current session. So you can even use the system can quickly learn on what's going on, where what sort of items the visitor has been looking at, and can make recommendation based on that. You can look at you can also look at the person's expenditure in the past, say what sort of, items they have purchased, and, and maybe the systems can, generate recommendations based on that. Do you have any insights on that, Nicholas?
Yeah, I think also other ways I've seen some companies tackle that as well, is just by asking the questions, up front. Are you looking for goods for yourself? Maybe, you're seeing that, I'm browsing in a different category that I normally would browse in. And you're having a prompt saying, are you looking for a gift for a loved one or the like? And using those insights as another way of doing it. Again, it's a hard one to tackle because obviously all businesses are very different, and there's we would need to maybe double click on that. So I'm actually going to take that one away and look at how we can come back with some, good examples of that in future content that we deliver out. But yeah, again, just having some prompts that actually help guide someone or, help pull that information out from them in terms of them maybe then indicating what they're looking for and who it's for could also be another way of doing it. Look, we've run out of time. This has been a great session. Apologies for the technical glitch at the start there. This is the world of delivering events digitally. But again, I really, really appreciate everyone taking their time out and sticking with us today. It's been a great conversation, Tanuj. Again, some really great insights there. Again, looking forward to your session next week. Again, as you said, so I really want to encourage all the audience to take the time out to register for that. And again, Tanuj and team have got some really great examples of brands that they've worked with, that they've helped drive digital transformation with. For those of you that want to get access to the report I was sharing earlier, you should be able to do so by using a QR code, using this QR code. Just scan that, and then ultimately you'll be able to go away and download that report. Also, I know I'm pretty much speaking on behalf of Tanuj here, but I'm pretty confident he'll be happy for you to reach out to him either through LinkedIn or email if you'd love to pick his brains further on some of the topics we discussed. As I said, I've known Tanuj for a long time, and his team are fabulous. They really have got some really great insights on how to drive transformational change. If you'd like to reach out to me, again, I'm one of the only Kontopouloses, I think, in LinkedIn, so you should be able to find me pretty easily there as well. So feel free to reach out to me. But with that, I want to thank you for giving us your time today. Hopefully you found some insights that we discussed here help. And I look forward to having you attend, hopefully, next week on the next session with Tanuj and team, where they'll be exploring. It was search, wasn't it? We're going to double click on search, right? Yep. Yeah, excellent.
Search and merchandising and personalization. Yep.
Exactly. Search, personalization, and merchandising. So, yeah, fabulous. Thank you again, Tanuj, for your time, mate.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone.
See you later.
See you.